Hi, this is Welcome to Charlene's Vision. Today I have a guest on the show, and I want you to know his name is Todd Mattox. So Todd, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in the mid-'60s, and I was born in the South Bronx of New York.
Woohoo!
Yes, and I lived in New York a very short period of time.
Okay.
When New York, they had a documentary on New York when the Bronx is burning down. I was a part of that.
Okay.
Where I would wake up in the middle of the night or early part of the morning hearing someone yell and scream where the buildings was on fire, where the landlord set the buildings on fire because for insurance reasons. And we used to have to actually have fire drills in our apartment building, get up in the middle of the night. Our landlord would actually get us up and make sure the building was clear. We would have a escape route. And my grandparents were a part of raising me because of my mother was a very young mother.
Okay, now they lived in the Bronx too, or?
Yes.
Okay.
We lived off of 169th Street and Prospect Avenue in the Bronx.
And you said for a short period of time, so what happened
I
after
lived
that?
there until I was about 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
And then my mom migrated me and my younger sibling brother to Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland, to protect us from the trauma of watching buildings burn down and people screaming and yelling. And it was a culture shock.
Oh, okay. So then you at Maryland, and what happened in Maryland? What's the transition there?
Well, we moved from concrete streets and sidewalks to going to somewhere where you saw grass and trees and bushes and flowers and things like that.
Now, did you like it down there, or?
At first, like I said, it was a culture shock. It was something we weren't used to. And it was like heaven in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. So when you were down there, who did you live with?
Well, actually, we moved with my grandmother's sister, my great aunt. Her name was Tippy, Teresa.
Okay, you lived with her until you were an adult?
I lived with her until I was approximately, until my last 2 years of high school. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she was in the hospital. So we had to go live with my mom and my stepdad.
Oh, okay. So while you were living in Salisbury, Maryland, I guess you had family there. And did you ever go back to New York City at any point, or just?
Well, pretty much every other summer we went back to New York City and for the summertime. But we shared time between Maryland and New York City every other summer.
Okay. So now, what do you do for a living now?
Oh, I drive for a car service. I take clients from either their homes in the morning to their occupation in the morning, or I drive them to the airports and so they can go to other places.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. And how long have you been doing that for?
I've been doing it approximately for 6 months.
Okay. And then before then, what you were doing?
I work for a cable communication company.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, what communication company? You liked that job as well?
Very much so. I spent 17 years there.
Wow. Okay, so what's the transition there? Is it something you wanted to do, or what you want to do for, this is your final job, or you want to just do something else?
Hopefully I'll learn the tricks and the trade of the business, and hopefully one day I'll own my own driver's service.
Well, that sounds good.
Yes.
That's good. Now you would like to own your driver's service. So how would that work? You would just be coming from Connecticut to wherever you need to go?
Wherever a client wants to go, I will provide the service. May it be a CEO who wants to go from a company job to their home, or to a flight going to a different country, or maybe if we have clients who want to be on a party bus, I would have a party bus where my clients would come on and have a party, listen to music while I drive them from A to B.
Okay. Now, it seems like you've been working for a long time, so you're a hard worker. Where do you think you get your hard-working abilities from when you started
I pretty much got my hard-working abilities from my mother's husband, who I considered my dad. He was a very hard-working gentleman. He worked 2 and 3 jobs, and watching him work 2 and 3 jobs and take care of his family kind of inspired me to be a very hard worker. And also my great aunt who raised me, she was a very hard worker. Whatever job it took to get it done, and as long as it was an honest living, that's what inspired me to work so hard.
So those are like the closest people in your life.
Yes.
Right. So your stepfather, you said, and your
great aunt.
Your great aunt.
Yes.
Okay. So you had like a lot of values and morals from them.
Yes.
To be working.
Yes.
That's good. That sounds interesting. Now, for you doing now, so when you came up here, what like sacrifices you think you made in life? Just for being here versus, because, you've moved to New York now, be in Connecticut. So, like, where would you like to be, and what type of goals would you like right now?
I sacrificed my personal goals of growing up to be a tractor-trailer driver due to the fact that I was married. I'm married and I have children. I also had adopted 2 children, and I have 2 foster children now. So I think it was a good sacrifice to give back when so many gave to me.
Wow. So that's the real thing. You wanted to be a truck driver.
Yes.
Okay. So what makes you want to drive truck?
Well, ever since I was growing up, I was very short and very little. So that was like a complex I had. So when I did drive tractor trailer off and on, I felt like Hercules, being so short and conquering a big vehicle. I got attention from the ladies, and I got attention from other truck drivers who at one point in time, only truck drivers they had was guys with big beer belly guts. But to see a little guy who clean cut drive a big vehicle, that was very, very fun. Very much fun.
That's good. So you would mind you would still think about doing that now as a truck driver, or was it something because of the complex you maybe had when you were younger?
I think it was pretty much the complex when I was younger. Also, I had, actually he's still a friend of mine, like a surrogate brother who I looked up to. He taught me how to drive truck, and that was like a big thing for me.
Oh, that's good. So you like driving truck, and like you said, it was something. Would you be something you'd be doing now in the future, or what does your future looks like?
Well, my future is pretty much if there's someone else out there who I can help, or like I said, I've been in the foster parent, adopted kids.
Okay.
It took a community to raise me, so right now I'm taking care of a younger brother and little sister.
How's that working out?
Actually, it's working out pretty good.
Okay. So what do you see in the system that you help with? I know you take care of them, but is it something that you like doing?
It's something that you get used to once you get into it.
You get used to it?
Yes.
And you say you had you fostered before, you had adopted before. Now, how did that work out?
It worked out pretty good. It was rough in the beginning, but it worked out pretty good.
Okay. Now, you being in Connecticut now, this is someplace your goals in the future. Where would you want to be? Let's just say hypothetically, 5-10 years from now. Do you like Connecticut, or because you did the transition? You was born in New York City. You moved to Maryland. And any other states you lived in?
I lived in Chicago for like a few months, many years ago.
Chicago?
Yes.
How was that like?
It was okay. It was windy and cold. It seems like wherever I go, I look for something very chilling.
Oh, okay. So it's something that you just was there for a little while? You said
yes.
You didn't like it there?
Well, I was just there for a moment. It wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just that I moved out around pretty much a lot at a young age.
Okay, so you were in Chicago. Is there anywhere else you were?
Pretty much Chicago, New York, Maryland, and now Connecticut.
Okay, and how you like Connecticut?
Connecticut is okay. It's better than living in Florida or Puerto Rico with the hurricanes, or Texas, but I'll take the blizzard.
I agree with that. Because I don't want any hurricanes too. Even though the warm weather is good, it's just that, like you said, the hurricanes, you don't want to do that. So that's pretty good. So you say you see yourself, you say you're Connecticut, where you see yourself in the future, like what state you would want to go to?
Well, the Pennsylvania area, Westminster, Pennsylvania, or Dover, Delaware, or the lower part of New Jersey. It's like the beltway of everything. You right there near Baltimore Harbor,
Right.
1 second. And my wife and her family is from New York, so it's like less than an hour and a 40-minute ride for her to go to New York if she needs be.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Now, where your family is located?
I have a brother in Dover. I have a cousin in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I also have a brother in Virginia, Maryland, borderline of Virginia, Maryland line. And my daughter, who's in the Air Force, she lives in Goldsboro, North Carolina. So I'm pretty much in the middle of everything.
Right, that sounds interesting. You'd be in the middle of everything. So you have time to visit family more north and then more south.
Yes.
Could you be right in the center?
Yes.
That sounds good. So you like doing that? Do you like doing that?
Yes.
Just traveling. Okay.
Yes.
And then you said you would basically just do your driving.
Yes.
Just driving service, which is good. Now, how is that coming along? What takes you doing to get that started?
Well, if I was to move down to that area, I would be right there in the beltway of everything: New Jersey, New York, Dover, Delaware, Virginia,
Right.
Pennsylvania. And I pretty much, if I calculate everything right, I could corner the market pretty much.
Right, because you be in the center, so it really doesn't matter probably where you are because people be driving maybe in those areas anyway. Now, do you ever think about just going out to the West Coast, California, anything, just to be doing any driving out there, or?
I would expand my business out there, but I don't think I would like to live out on the West Coast because of the earthquakes and other earthly issues.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the hobbies you have. What do you do, like if you didn't have to work? What would you like doing in your spare time?
I probably would be a chef or probably be a teacher,
Wow.
like mentor young people. Because today, most young people, young men and women, they need to be tutored to grow up to be successful. I would have like small classes show young men who are fathers or going to be fathers how to be a father, because I remember when I was first told I was going to be a father, I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I remember sitting on the bench in Central Park, New York, and I was crying because I didn't know how I was going to handle it or deal with being a father.
Wow, that sounds interesting. So you said just mentoring people to be a father, or?
Yes.
Okay, you said teaching, and what was the other one you said?
Mentoring young people, young men.
And you said chef, that's the one.
And to be a chef. I love to cook.
Oh, okay.
I love to make up things different.
So what do you like to cook?
Oh, my favorite dish is paella. I mean, I can't even go to a family to just say hello unless I have a bowl of paella in my hand.
Yeah, paella. Yeah,
Yes.
that's good. That's a good dish. I love that dish as well. So you make that dish. That's your favorite dish. So you'll be just having your just having the chef, being a chef, or mentoring people.
Yes.
That sounds good. You seem like you are a good family man. I mean, you have foster kids, so I know you mentor them and you tell them things. So you have a lot of experience in that.
Yes.
So that would be like your hobbies. Anything else? What about like traveling and anything?
Oh, I would like to rent a big RV. I don't know if they call them RVs now, but like a big bus and travel to the United States. And I would like to do that. That would be on my bucket list.
Right, just travel all the states, or?
Yes.
You ever think about going out the states or just staying here?
Like I said, maybe in a couple years I would like to move to Pennsylvania.
Oh, I'm just talking about the traveling. You said
Traveling, like a lot of people, they take the big bus and their family and they travel to different states, look at different monuments and everything.
And that's just something you're interested in as well?
Yes.
Is something to do, like if you're not working, if you just had the time, leisure time to do that. Now let's just talk about traveling. What about the traveling? Have you traveled anywhere? And if you did, which was like the best? Let's talk about where you traveled.
My wife, she learned to speak Spanish, so we traveled to different countries: Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Barbados,
Wow.
St. Croix. I traveled to different countries, and I'd have to say Costa Rica was very interesting.
Costa Rica, you like Costa Rica?
Yes, we stayed there approximately 2 weeks. She would go to classes in the morning, and I would stay. We actually lived with a family while we were there, and pretty much life was like how I grew up, like the country with a well water outhouse.
Wow. And you like that?
And a wood stove, yes.
Oh, okay. So that's like one of the best places you visit, or is there any place else you would visit, or where would you like to go in the future for travel?
I went to Mexico, but when I went to Mexico with my wife, it was like a resort. So it was more or less a vacation-oriented type thing. But the trip to Costa Rica was very interesting because it was something I was used to and accustomed to that I haven't been around in a long time. Like the lady who we stayed with, she made our breakfast, and the food was very different from the food over here.
Oh, okay.
Which everything over there is pretty much organic, original, no processed anything in the food.
So you like the food over there?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what. So in the future, where would you want to visit?
I would like to visit Aruba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica.
Yeah, those are all nice places. I like those places as well. I would love to just be in the, especially now when it's winter time here, you just want to travel. That's why it's good when you have money. You can just stay here for the summer, and then in the winter time, you get to go to another nice, like Costa Rica. There's no snow in Costa Rica right now, or even someplace else, just for the winter time due to the fact no one wants to be in the snow. Yeah. And how do you feel about the snow over here?
I don't really like the snow.
You don't like the snow at all?
And actually, when I used to work for the cable company, we had customers, technically we called them the snowbirds. They cheated on us. They would go to Florida and different countries during the wintertime, and then when it got
Those
hot,
are my kind of people.
they would come back to Connecticut to get away from the heat, and we called them the snowbird customers.
I would love to do that. I would love to just spend 6 months here and then 6 months, or even not even 6, maybe 2 months out of, like maybe December and January to another country or someplace like Florida, just for those 2 months, just to get out of the snow.
Wouldn't we all like that?
Yeah, I know. So you said your customers, and they would just cut off their service for 6 months. Now that's possible. You can do stuff like that, yeah, right?
Well, they would pay a small price, and their service would be left on, and we would just downgrade the bill. They try to work with the customers. You try to keep their services on, because trying to start it all over again is not good. So we just, they pay a small fee to just keep their service on. And also they can transfer their service if they live in our footprint and wherever they live. They just transfer the services.
Oh, that'd be good. Can you actually do that?
Yes, you can put your cable boxes in your suitcase and take it with you.
Wow. That sounds interesting. That's something I wouldn't think of, but it sounds like a good idea. And then when you go someplace else, you just plug it up.
Yes, we actually have.
But what about if they don't have the same communicator service out there?
Like I said, if they lived in the same footprint.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't hear that part, because I was like, if they didn't have.
They would just take it. And most of our customers, they're in our footprint of the cable company that I provide cable service, and they live in the same type footprint, wherever it may be, Florida, or Tennessee, or even some other countries.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Now, do you consider yourself successful at this point? And if you do, just identify what is success is to you.
Success. A lot of people like to say they're successful.
Right.
Well, I define successful differently.
Okay.
I think that when I'm taking my last breath and I look back on what I've done in life and been through life and my accomplishments in life and whose lives I've touched, or if I'm in a nursing home, whatever comes first, and I see someone that I've touched, that makes me successful.
Okay, so you consider yourself, because you touched a lot of people, like when you did the foster.
But I don't consider myself successful right now, because I still have a lot of work to do.
Okay. Touch a lot of people's lives, huh?
Yes.
Touch more people's lives. And how would you do about doing that?
Well, I think I've pretty much been halfway there. I raised foster kids, adopted kids. I also raised 2 of my sister's children, and they're very successful young ladies, mothers.
Your sister's children?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she passed away many years ago with lupus, but I was very much a part of their lives while she was sick.
Okay, so most likely you consider yourself successful now because you have touched people's lives and you have did all that. Even though you say you have a lot more to do, you have done. You halfway there.
I'll leave that up to you.
Well, I think you're halfway there. You have foster. You took care of kids. You have foster kids, adopted kids, your cousin's daughter kids. So that's considered success right there. And that's what you said success is, taking care, touching people's lives. It's not always about finances or the biggest house you have. And sometimes that's good when you think of success that way instead of just thinking of it as just being rich. Because I feel that's rich as well. Just being rich is having a good, solid foundation family, people you can go to when you're down and out, and people support you and you support them as well.
Yes.
Anything else you needed to conclude with that?
No, but money helps though. Sometimes you know that.
Money does help. Money does help. I don't think everybody can live, but just to have something, you need that. So that is good. But it depending on what you do with the money as well. I always feel that having money, always giving back to the community is always grateful to. I think you'll be blessed more if you have money, you give back, and wealth will come with you in many of the other ways. People look at wealth of just having money, but I think health is a good thing as well. You can have health, which is good. You can have all the money in the world, but if your health is not good, then that's something that's not good.
Yes.
Yeah. So besides success, what do you think that's unsuccessful that you have done, or something that you have done that you really regret of doing?
So
something was like, oh man, I wish something like this was just blocked from my life that happened, that you experienced, or something that you actually learned from, and you're glad you went through that process and it made you a better person.
I don't know if it's something that I regret doing or going through, but I'll say I was diagnosed with melanoma cancer about 6 years ago.
Wow.
And the diagnostics wasn't great. Mm-hmm. And I beat the odds again for some reason. Wow. And
it wasn't your time to go.
It made me very humble, made me a person. I've always thought of others and tried to help others, but sometimes in life you can be a little over arrogant. It's okay to be arrogant in some ways, but when you're over arrogant and the way you communicate and treat people, sometimes it's not good. And I feel as though that part of my life before that happened, I was a part of that, and I didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. And I just felt as though, okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing this for this person. I'm helping that person. But the communication skills and the arrogant part was just not good. And I pretty much could have lost everything. I could have lost my wife. My children weren't speaking to me at one point. Wow. And my wife was thinking about separating from me. But before that, I kind of collected myself and got myself back together. I think that's about the only regret I had. I was very loud, boisterous, and sometimes because I felt as though I didn't hit anyone or break anything, that my voice wasn't a problem, but it was kind of abusive. But
yeah, verbal abuse is just as bad as physical abuse.
Yes, it is.
I agree with that.
And I think surviving cancer,
that's good.
Kind of, I was working on it before that, but I think what I went through and dealing with other people who were going what I was going through with severe cases, it kind of humbled me more.
Wow. I mean, having cancer and beating the odds, like you said, it was severe. The stage was Like it was really
3.5.
3.5.
Yes.
So that's interesting that you beat the odds. It's not your time to go yet, and you have more to do.
Actually, the doctor told my wife that I would be blind and crippled on my left side. I would be left in a nursing home pretty much.
Wow. That's interesting. So you have been blessed in more ways than one. And you did a lot in life. You did a lot. You've been a lot of places. You've seen a lot of things. You seem to have knowledge on everything. You already know where you're going in the future. You have a steady future. And it seems like you're very focused on what are you looking for and what you want, which is good. Because some people still wandering around and not focused at all.
Well, one of my great aunt's favorite saying is, when you do something in life for someone, or you don't wait for someone to put you up on that pedestal, because while they putting you on that pedestal, they can tear you down.
Oh.
And not only that, if you let someone put you on a pedestal and you climb up on that, or they hoist you up on that pedestal, then you're done.
Right.
You don't have time to go on and do other great things. But if you do good things and people want to put you on the pedestal, let them build the pedestal, and you keep on going and do more good.
Right. Okay. So that's good. That is good to know. That's a good saying. So I just want to say thank you for being on the show.
You're more than welcome. It was a joy to be here.
Yeah, I learned a lot from you. I think you're very focused. You know what you want in life. You went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and you succeeded. You know, the cancer, dealing with a lot of, issues when you had adopted. You said you adopted kids, and you have that, and that's something you went to do, a mentoring and chef. So that's pretty good. And anything else you need to say before you leave? Well,
this is the first time I always knew I was good at something. I always knew that I was famous, but I finally made it, guys.
You did finally made it. Thank you again for being at the Charlene's Vision. Okay. And hope you come back sometime and see what else you have to tell us.
It would be a pleasure.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you as well.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening to Charlene's Vision. Please tune in, charlenesvision@gmail.com if you have any questions or if you'd like to be on the show. Thank you.